You guys, so Palantir is genuinely terrifying. Like, we're gonna watch a documentary about Palantir.
So, who is Palantir? Palantir is a publicly traded corporation that specializes in big data integration on the software level. But what does that mean? In layman terminology, Palantir focuses on the orchestration, organization, and implementation of data, a ton of the information behind the scenes that products and services need, with a focus on automating the decision-making processes with that existing data infrastructure. But how and where do they do this? They do this for corporate clientele such as JP Morgan, Wendy's, to public entities such as Britain's NHS, Norwegian Customs, Danish POL, Intel, Predictive Policing, all the way to ICE and the CIA in the United States.
Whenever you heard the names of JP Morgan and CIA, you know they're up to no good.
Product lines such as Palantir Gotham allow police departments to predict potential crime with data of citizens in a given community. They can even run probability for whether someone might have a mental health crisis. For militaries such as the IDF, Gotham can expand drone capability to be completely autonomous control.
This is actually insane because they're trying to predict someone might have a mental illness. It's like one of those anime, psychopaths. Like they're trying to predict someone has a mental illness and they try to execute them before having a true conviction that that person is mentally ill. That's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Operated and executed by a machine learning algorithm. Palantir Foundry can automate logistics and make predictive outcomes in healthcare and supply chains, such as Britain's NHS. As we speak, Palantir is experiencing an unprecedented rise in market cap, growing by 23 times since 2023. They were founded by Peter Thiel, a billionaire venture capitalist and mega donor of the Republican Party, who broke campaign finance records by donating a whopping $15 million to J.D. Vance's 2022 Senate campaign. Thiel is also famous for pushing for fully private-owned cities, city-states entirely owned by corporations.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would,
This is a long hesitation.
Bruh, you don't need to hesitate to answer a simple question. Like, you can't even answer a simple question. Are you for the human race or not? He's just hesitating.
This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in
Should the
this.
human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But
The second major
this is one
player
of the funniest clips ever.
is the eccentric CEO Alex Karp, an odd technology CEO who has remained in the shadows until recently.
To disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
I'm a huge believer in physiognomy. Like, if someone looks like this, you should probably not even trust them.
And when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
A question emerges here. Amidst a very unstable technology market in the US, an economy generally bearish at the prospect of new technology investment, how has Palantir quietly grown by a seismic 23 times? Palantir didn't grow overnight, but the acceleration they are experiencing seemingly did. An acceleration fueled by robbery in plain sight. A heist that dwarfs anything in history. Yet, it's important to note the past 40 years of neoliberalism can be described as a heist in general, an unprecedented seismic extraction of wealth from normal, day-to-day working-class people, to the point where the rich have never accumulated more wealth compared to the rest of society in human history. But we all know this. Many aren't surprised that the top 10% own 93% of the entire US stock market, that the top 1% own over 30%.
Isn't it kind of crazy? Like, there's a small elite group of people, the oligarchy, has accumulated wealth of a higher portion than the rest of the humankind. Like, it's kind of crazy. There's only a few individuals as well that can actually influence the entire world. That's kind of crazy.
Percent of all wealth in the US. Journalists, economists, and even the rare politician have warned us for decades that this level of extraction is occurring. But without outright crippling society to the point of economic collapse, what else is there to take? Turns out, a lot more. And it's far more powerful and substantial than money could buy.
Yeah, it was never about money. These people can print money, so it's about always has been about control.
Now to President Trump and Elon Musk's latest moves to reshape the federal government. The top Social Security official stepped down after Musk's team requested access to sensitive personal data about millions of Americans. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is tracking it from Mar-a-Lago.
After the 2025 presidential election, the Trump administration announced the creation of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with the official aim to cut, quote, fraud, waste, and abuse in the public sector. Headed by Elon Musk, and with ex-employees of Palantir, Musk made an official goal of cutting $2 trillion in what he claimed was identifiable waste. In actuality, the final sum expected to be cut is $160 billion, with official estimates showing that DOGE's total operational cost to be around $130 billion itself. And according to a report from Yale's The Budget Lab, the measures to cut various government agencies is expected to create a net loss of $300 to $500 billion over the next decade. And despite this has been the Trump administration's greatest success. That's because DOGE is a lie. The point was never to cut fraud, waste, and abuse. It's a facade for an ambition much greater and far more consequential.
That's what these guys always do. They try their official story will be something about they're trying to like cut fraud. They're trying to do something for the people, but eventually we all know that's like a cover story, a whale, for them to do some bad shit.
In February of 2025, members of DOGE gained root access to a plethora of government IT systems, such as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the U.S. Agency for International Development. But the real crucial one is the Social Security Administration, harboring one of the most sensitive databases in the United States. The birth dates, historical addresses, employment history, financial records of every single American. It doesn't take a genius to understand what is going on here, but what sells the terrifying endgame is the transparent...
Well, it's not going to be just about America, it's going to be about the whole world when these people gain control. Like, they starting with America, but if you have the birth certificate of every single person on the planet, every social information about everybody, you can effectively control them.
The legal nature of this. Federal courts have blocked DOGE from entering these databases after it was already done. But that's the point. The repercussions do not matter. Even if courts find DOGE and the Trump administration in judicial contempt for illegally accessing federal databases, the data has already been siphoned.
Yeah, but these people control the whole world. Like, imagine like your entire, text messages with someone or your ex-girlfriend or your loved one. They have it already and they can use it to actually like imprison you or doing some shady shit like that. Imagine like they have all the information of your embarrassing health related searches. Like they have all the info about that. They can actually effectively use it to control you. It's kind of crazy what information amassed about people can actually do, and you can effectively control the masses in general.
In April of 2025, Judge Ellen Hollander denied DOGE access due to concerns around privacy and the Fourth Amendment, along with the Fair Privacy Act. a 1974 law that requires explicit protection of personal data unless there is immediate urgency in law enforcement functions. Which, as the courts reflected, there clearly is zero urgency to combat crime that would necessitate unfettered access to the Social Security Administration's database. Yet, in June of 2025, in an absolutely contradictory and wild ruling, the Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration had authority to executively access federal databases at will. The only 3 liberal judges dissented. The behavior here is what is particularly dangerous, to execute without legal process, without genuine consultation of the law. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson voiced concern regarding the Trump administration's legal defense. In essence, the urgency underlying the government's stay application is the mere fact that it cannot be bothered to wait for the litigation process to.
People in power can take shit if they truly want to. Like, there's nothing actually can stop people. Like, you can bribe people, you can actually kill someone. There's nothing actually stopping, like, the elites from getting what they want.
Play out before proceeding as it wishes. A concerning question here remains: is this naive hubris of the Trump administration a lack of concern due to Trump's evasion of legal repercussions, or is this done with a strategic plan of assurance that the law will not be applied to them after the fact? That the few democratic judicial.
Buddy, the law never applies to the rich. That's always been the case. Law is only applicable to the poor people. Like, it's never applicable to the rich.
Procedures in the US will be null and void by the time justice could have.
Imagine getting a lawsuit with an elite. Like, do you genuinely think you're gonna win that lawsuit? No.
Be served. We don't know the answer. What we do know is that all our collective, sensitive data is now out in the wild, unbeknownst to us, but not without emerging clues. In May of 2025, a New York Times article highlighted the Trump administration's plan to create a centralized database on every single American citizen. Palantir is set to lead the charge. Little is known how this database will be constructed, what technical data will exactly be used. But we do know Palantir representatives have been in contact with 2 big American agencies, the Social Security Administration and the Internal Revenue Service, who head the 2 most important government databases in the country. It's important to note how information systems work. One might argue that our data is already in a specific state database, that the entirety of our information is already available to the state at large.
That is true, without a doubt.
Framing is incorrect. It presupposes that the state is a single entity, able to executively access specific data at will. Information systems are much more fragmented, and that's on purpose.
If they want to find you and ruin your life, they could. Like, there's nothing stopping you. Humanity's officially cooked.
Social Security Administration will not have access to the same data as the Department of Health and Human Services. It's the centralization that changes everything, and the horror of this conundrum is twofold. The state now has unfettered access, a single executive database to pull from. And now, it's not just the state. A third party and private entity, Palantir, owns the keys.
I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd
Yo, why does people have actually, like, black marks on their eyes? There's like a conspiracy for that, like, elites has to get a black mark on the eye, like somebody has punched them or something. Like, it's kind of crazy.
given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
All of this was under the political banner of efficiency. Trump's administration wanted to
From our country.
Throwing shit to the keys of Christ giving to Peter, like, everything they do is like inversion of scripture.
Country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
All of this was under the political banner of efficiency. Trump's administration wanted to stop fraud, waste, and abuse by eliminating information silos through the process of, quote, removing unnecessary barriers to federal employees accessing government data and promoting interagency data sharing are important steps towards eliminating bureaucratic duplication and inefficiency while enhancing the government's ability to detect overpayments and fraud. The efficiency was made possible by tearing down the legal, privacy, and data protections in place to protect American citizens from third parties. And the Trump administration handed the keys of our most sensitive data to one of the most sophisticated data organizations in the world. But you may ask, for those of us around the world, for those of us who don't care about data integrity, what does this mean for us? Well, it means everything, because everything is at stake. Information is a currency far greater than the dollar or any tangible asset. It allows for the prediction of that very everything. And Alex Karp understands this.
With them being the winner of the world, because if they're winning, it means other people are losing. What do you think of that?
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination.
Do you know who Palantir is?
That's how like every one of these people think. They don't care about winning and losing. They just want complete control.
I do.
Do you think that Palantir has ever scraped data from Facebook?
Senator, I'm not aware of that.
We've entered what theorist Shoshana Zuboff calls surveillance capitalism, an economic system that doesn't extract value from your labor, but from your behavior itself. Every search, pause, purchase becomes raw material for algorithms that predict and modify what you will do next. And it's a surplus you give out freely, while scrolling social media, visiting web pages, much of your digital life. This might seem overly theoretical and dramatic in nature, but this model of extraction is right here. Bruce Schneier, a cryptographer, computer scientist, and author, coined it perfectly. Surveillance is the business model of the internet. We build systems that spy on people in exchange for services. Corporations call it marketing. When immigration data gets processed, Palantir and the state is not just
If people are still in denial, there's no surveillance state. They're actually fucking retarded. Like people like Snowden and everyone, they actually exposed things like this 4 years ago. Like if you still deny the surveillance state, you're probably retarded.
tracking individuals. They're modeling migration patterns to engineer policy responses. When health records get analyzed, they're not predicting individual outcomes. They're optimizing population health according to invisible, computerized priorities. You aren't just being watched, you're being predicted, and prediction becomes policy before you know the game has started. Another reason why data is so incredibly powerful in the hands of organizations with vast computational power is the sheer speed and velocity it's able to capture behavior, to predict, to fundamentally own. Paul Virilio, a theorist and military historian, is also particularly relevant here. In the 1970s, Virilio coined the term dromology, relating to the Greek word dromos, which roughly means race. Dromology can be seen as a way to understand the contemporary relationship with society and speed. Virilio sees speed as a fundamental mechanism of power and a driving force in technological growth. In the context of modern warfare, pure strategy no longer wins. Superior logistics do. From the Wehrmacht's strategy of blitzkrieg to the United States' ability to reach A to B in the supply chain. In the case of domestic society, telegraph to the telephone, to advanced computation and digital communications. Yet, to Virilio, there's side effects. Speed confuses. It creates what Virilio calls the tyranny of real time, a type of sociology that minimizes the geographic, physical existence of life by way of rapid communications, digitalization, and processing power, which then can lead to instability, upheavals, and even the erosion of democracy by way of a cult of technocratic efficiency. Just through the speed of modern work and technological innovation, our ethics, the sublime humanity we hold, tends to get tossed to the wayside. Virilio was concerned about an emerging ideology of technological determinism and supremacy. The belief that technology's evolution, its ability to innovate, was enough to legitimize itself, that any result from technological growth is inherent, perhaps not proper, nor desirable, but inevitable, and we have no say. Does that sound familiar right now?
I think AI will probably, most likely sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious...
Lead to the end of the world. Buddy, that's your job to prevent, not... It's your job to do something for the welfare of humanity. Now you're talking about the end of the world.
Machine learning.
Palantir embodies this. It may seem that Palantir's extreme centralization of information is reckless. Arrogant executives foaming at the mouth at new quarterly increases and a bump in stock price. But this underscores the very intentional, real power grab that is happening, and the goal is not merely financial in nature. Palantir's ability to harness the power of speed, its velocity of growth, and information capabilities is what makes this a horrifying prospect. The effect of this is the evisceration of democratic procedure, expectations of privacy. This creates an effect similar to what Foucault deemed as panopticism, the effect of surveillance, normalizing of an authority that watches to the extent you regulate yourself. It's not just the mass collection of data of many across the globe, but the quiet acceptance, creeping normalization, the feeling of inevitability, that our entire DNA can be sequenced remotely, our behaviors, mental patterns, synthesized and predicted. Private health insurers and or state healthcare systems may have access to nearly all of your...
Imagine they have access to our healthcare. I mean, they probably do, and they can actually use ads to target which insurance you want. They can target it because they have information of your own medical data. But that's kind of crazy and evil to do, for the most part.
Data and have the power to make predictions on health outcomes. They may deny your care based upon specific behaviors, your whereabouts, and weekend activities. Marketers can target individuals with accuracy we've never seen, based upon biological makeup, your spending habits. With your data becoming centralized in a master database, combined with the rise of self-trained AI and neural networks, political corruption, and administrations that willingly sacrifice public commons in favor of capital, the disturbing possibilities are endless. But not all is lost. We create new data every day, and much of it is under our control. While not all, we have ownership and agency around how and when much of that data is shed. On the front of...
Yeah, you should, if you're gonna send some risky messages to your girlfriend or ex, send the messages with the knowledge that they're actually watching us. So, be an open book. If you're an open book, there's nothing they can do to, get you, text someone or text anyone with the knowledge that someone else is watching you. Then they can do nothing about it, you provide information for free.
A state-sponsored centralized database, explicit political pressure is about all we can do. This is a unique dilemma not even security researchers would have predicted. This is relatively new territory. It must be conveyed as a crisis alongside and equal to issues such as climate change, money, and politics, which it absolutely is. There's also a lot we can do individually to combat the peripheral data collected by private, large-scale tech platforms, such as social media, online shopping, and general computer use.
Well, I disagree. I don't think we can actually do anything that can actually, stop this crisis or process whatsoever. We're leading into, without using social media, like online shopping, any of these things, like you cannot live a sustaining life. You cannot live like a normal life without these kinds of things. These kinds of social media apps are inextricably tied to our daily life now. Like you cannot just stop using them. My strategy is that you could do whatever, use them like with the knowledge they're actually gonna have the information whatsoever. Like then you're not gonna do some shady shit. Like they're watching anyway. Like then watch it. Like so. Use social media with the intention that these people are already watching us, so there's nothing actually like surprising to us.
This goes beyond,
and we can't get caught off guard.
The full scope of the video. We can limit our footprint, avoiding the gold mine we create for corporations that are contrary to normal people's existence, using open source software, refusing to use tech platforms that make you.
I hate to disagree, but there's nothing I can actually do to limit our footprint. Our footprints are inextricably tied to this social media apps. For fucking getting a job, you have to make a profile on LinkedIn, which they actually got. Like, there's nothing you can actually do.
You, the center product. Or, if you must, poison their data sets. Never use real names. Give false addresses. Make their data completely inoperable. As individuals, we can still control what data private.
This does not work because algorithms tend to talk phone numbers, which they have access to, like your real identity. So making private accounts doesn't even work anymore. It's kind of like a old strategy.
Entities
the algorithms are so smart.
Collect from us. In theory, we can destroy the very fabric that makes corporations such as Google profitable. What is more difficult is a state-ran centralized database, though.
That's just wishful and naive thinking. I don't think that's actually possible. They already got your data. That's nothing you can actually do about it. You should move forward with the intention. They're already watching us. They already have our data.
Individual hygiene and individual habits don't equally apply here. There will need to be collective pressure, and we will have to work together. But it's up to us, whether or not we will approach these challenges with a cynical nihilism, a laziness that accepts defeat before the race has finished. Or we can move forward with the courage and understanding.
And it's not accepting defeat, like, you can't do actually nothing against these people. Like, there's a spiritual warfare, we can hold our hearts close to God, but there's nothing else actually we do, like, to combat this. Like,
we still fundamentally control the keys.
That is true to some certain extent, but I'm pretty sure like in 85%, they actually want entire control over data.
Thank you all for watching and making it to the end. I have a
yeah, follow this guy's Epoch Philosophy. Pretty good channel. Subscribe to it. Pretty good documentary. We're watching another one.
Imagine a company that can see everything you do. What you buy, where you go, who you talk to, even what you might do next. It sounds like science fiction, like something straight out of Black Mirror, but it's real. And the company behind it is called Palantir. Backed by the CIA, Palantir began as a tool to track terrorists. Today, it quietly powers governments, police forces, and corporations across the globe, analyzing your data, predicting behavior, and influencing decisions that shape the world around you. It calls itself a data analytics firm. Critics call it something else, a surveillance empire. This is the
data analytics firm is like a euphemism for a surveillance state or empire. Like that's terminology, a word they use to actually like cover up what the shady shit they're actually doing.
Story of how Palantir went from a secret startup to one of the most powerful and controversial tech companies on Earth, and what it means for your privacy, your freedom, and your future. The story begins in 2003. The world was still reeling from the September 11th attacks.
We believe that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center.
Terrorists and every conspiracy theorist actually has like all the conspiracy theorists I know online actually awakened after 9/11. It's kind of crazy.
Mighty skyscrapers crumbling to the ground.
Governments were desperate to find new ways to detect threats before they happened. That's when two men saw an opportunity. Peter Thiel, the billionaire tech investor and co-founder of PayPal, and Alex Karp, a philosopher. They shared a bold question. What if data could do more than record the past? What if it could predict the future, even connect the dots between terrorists before they strike? With that idea, they launched Palantir Technologies, named after the seeing stones from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, essentially what they're trying to do is trying to play God. They can predict the future better than God will. It's essentially a rebellion against God.
Magical orbs that could watch events anywhere in the world, a fitting name for a company built to see everything. Their early funding didn't come from Silicon Valley venture capitalists. It came from In-Q-Tel, the investment arm of the CIA. From the start, Palantir wasn't just a tech company, it was a weapon of intelligence. Palantir's software, known as Gotham, was designed to make sense of chaos. It could take massive amounts of raw data, phone calls, travel logs, bank transactions, emails, social media posts, and turn it into clear visual patterns. For intelligence agencies, it was revolutionary. It allowed them to see connections between suspects, predict movements, and identify hidden networks faster than ever before. After years of working with the US government, Palantir saw a new opportunity: the private sector. If their software could find terrorists, why not financial crimes, supply chain problems, or even disease outbreaks? By the 2000s, Palantir was everywhere, though few people knew it. Its software was being used by the FBI, NSA, and US Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE. In the private sector, banks like JP Morgan and corporations like Airbus, BP, and Merck were using Palantir's platforms to track money, shipments, and even employee behavior. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Palantir signed contracts with the US and UK governments to analyze public health data. Everything from hospital capacity to vaccination rates. They said it was about saving lives. Critics said it was about building the biggest health surveillance
but it's saving lives, bro.
System in history. And then there's Palantir Foundry, its second platform for corporations. It claims to help businesses make smarter decisions using data, but behind the marketing language, Foundry allows companies to track supply chains, monitor workers, and predict consumer behavior in real time. Today, Palantir systems quietly influence everything from border control to financial markets to public health policy. And the deeper it embeds itself into the systems that run society, the harder it becomes to live without it. So how does Palantir actually do all this? The answer lies in data fusion, the process of taking information from thousands of sources and merging it into a single, searchable database. Imagine every piece of your digital life, your phone location, social media posts, credit card purchases, travel history, being combined into one giant map. That's what Palantir systems can do. And their algorithms don't just show what's happening, they predict what might happen next. For example, police departments using Palantir can identify hotspots for potential crime. Banks can flag suspicious transactions. Governments can spot political unrest before it erupts. To Palantir's clients, this is powerful intelligence. To privacy advocates, it's a nightmare scenario where the government or corporations can know your habits better than you do. One expert described it like this: Palantir doesn't just watch what you do, it learns who you are. Let's take a quick pause from the data deluge. If there's one thing the story of Palantir teaches us, it's that knowledge is power, and the more data you have, the smarter your decisions can be. That's where today's sponsor, The Alchemist, comes in. Palantir says it helps make the world safer, but not everyone agrees. One of the biggest controversies surrounds ICE, the US Immigration Agency. Palantir's software was used to track, locate, and deport undocumented immigrants, often by connecting data from driver's licenses, phone records, and social media. When this became public, activists accused the company of turning its technology into a deportation machine. In another case, the Los Angeles Police Department used Palantir to build predictive models that flagged people.
You know, they can actually, if you're on an airport, they can actually swipe your phone. They can get every information from your phone. You know, they can actually do that, right?
As potential criminals based on their social connections. Civil rights groups called it digital profiling. Even some within the intelligence community warned that Palantir's reach was becoming too deep, that the line between security and surveillance was disappearing. And through it all, Palantir's leadership, especially CEO Alex Karp, defended the company, saying, "Our software is used to protect Western civilization." To some, that sounds noble. To others, it sounds like an excuse for unchecked power. Today, Palantir is expanding faster than ever. It's working with NATO militaries, European governments, and some of the biggest corporations on Earth. It's also diving into artificial intelligence, using AI models to help governments and companies make instant decisions based on data. Imagine combining real-time surveillance, social media monitoring, and AI predictions, and giving that to a government. That's where we're heading. Alex Karp says, Palantir's mission is to protect democracy through technology. But many ask, can you really protect democracy with tools built for total surveillance? It's a paradox, one that defines the age we live in.
Yeah, that's gonna be contradictory to each other. How can you protect democracy while having a surveillance state? They can threaten the democracy. That's just like an oligarchy, like that should be like a contradiction.
The story of Palantir teaches us a few powerful lessons. First, data is the new currency of power. The more data you have, the more control you can exert over markets, governments, and even people's behavior. Second, secrecy breeds danger. When powerful systems operate behind closed doors, without oversight, the potential for abuse is massive. And third, privacy isn't dead, but it's under siege. Every app you use, every click you make, every digital trace you leave, it all feeds into a system that's learning, adapting, and predicting. The question is, who's in control, you or the machine? Palantir began as a promise to use data to make the world safer, but in trying to predict the future, it may...
Every time they're trying to build like a huge data center somewhere, it's for surveillance. It's trying to build a surveillance set, and they're trying to pollute the environment at the same time. Everything they do is net negative for humanity.
Be reshaping it in ways we can't yet see. Its technology sits quietly behind the scenes. In your government, your bank, your hospital, it sees what others can't. And as its reach grows, so does the unease about who's watching whom. If these systems ever went down, many institutions would struggle to operate. That's how dependent modern society has become on invisible data infrastructure like Palantir's. And it raises a big question. Should a private company have this much control? Should software that tracks military missions, manages vaccine distribution, and monitors global trade be treated as critical infrastructure? Too important to fail, yet too powerful to go unchecked? Maybe this is the world we've built, one where safety and surveillance have become impossible to separate, where knowing everything about everyone isn't a fantasy. It's a business model. So the next time someone says, I have nothing to hide, remember, somewhere in a quiet data center, Palantir might already know what you'll do next. Thanks for watching.
Buddy, everything's a business, and humanity is officially cooked. Like, I don't think there's like a option you can disregard every social media apps or not do anything. Like, humanity's cooked. Like, let's be honest. It's nothing you can actually do. Well, if it's Alchemist, like, give me a subscribe. And that's about it, bro.